Hello, it's Johnny Boy. Tonight I'm going to show my squib script. As you probably know, in movies there's something called a squib, and that's where a firecracker, a little explosive effect happens when they're filming a shootout and they want the bullet impacts to show up. So we're simulating that in my script. But before I do that, I'm just going to show another easy way to kind of amp up a firefight. If you place objects around and when they get hit, you want them to fly. This isn't my squib script, but it's just a little trick. One, pumpkins are cool because they explode when they're hit, but it takes about 5 shots from a low caliber weapon to explode it. And so to make them explode on 1 hit or 2 hits, I just set the damage to 0.8 on the initialization. The ones on the left I haven't changed. These are all vanilla objects, and the one on the right I've done my little tricks to. And these other physics objects that we want to fly further when they get hit, what you do is you reduce the mass. So I set the mass to its current mass divided by 20. So it's 20 times lighter than vanilla. And that means when they're impacted by a bullet, they will fly further. So let's see the difference. So when you're setting up a place where you think there's likely to be a firefight, there's a liquor store and you put stuff all over the shelves and something's going to go down in there, then these things will fly more if they happen to get hit. Alright, here's the vanilla pumpkin. Took 6 shots to explode it. 2 with the low caliber weapon got because I set the damage to 8 on the pumpkin on the right. Now the vanilla stuff has the mass is default, and that cam went pretty good, but the box just falls over and the water bottle just barely impacted. But these 3 objects have their mass divided by 20. They're much lighter, so that can really flew. We didn't even see it, and the box went further and the water bottle went further. So that's just a little trick you can do without scripting, really. You just put something in the init file. Now, let's see the actual squib setup. Okay. So, for a squib, you just need to pass in an array of objects, and a bullet will be generated above it, be spawned, and impact wherever that object is. So if you just want bullet impacts, you can place invisible spheres, and at runtime these will be set to be invisible, and they're going to be fired off in the order that they're placed in the array. So I have an array of these objects that are fired off from this corner to that corner, so we'll see them fired off, and then there'll be an interval of time, a few seconds or half a second or a quarter second between each impact, and you can pass that into the script as well. And you could also pass in a real physics object as the squib object, so the bullet will be spawned from above and hit the object, and if it's an object that has physics, unlike these spheres, then those objects will also fly into the air. So we can demonstrate that both here, and let's see it. Okay, so we'll see the invisible squibs are set up on this table from that corner to this corner. And I have radio triggers to fire it off. So you saw the bullet impacts. Let's do it again. So that's pretty cool. You can put those anywhere. And now I have squib set up for every single one of these objects. So the pumpkins will explode and the other objects will fly when they're hit. I have 2 bad guys set up out here, making sure they know where I am. And now I'll trigger them to start firing. They're going to be firing at me, and maybe some of their bullets will hit these things, but the squibs are firing, and that's what's really going to launch all the little objects. That's it. So it's pretty fun if you well populate. If this was a real mission, I would have set up shelves in here and put things all over the walls, and it would have looked pretty interesting. So I think it's useful for cutscenes, and hopefully somebody finds it useful. Happy New Year.